And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Deacon Church from Only Two. That's right, the rule of two, only two. And Deacon Church is a Dolphin that has recently moved free to play, just does not want to spend any more money on this game. Has been playing a little over 2 years, so for over 2 years, 2.4 mil is not bad at all for your galactic power. And you want a little bit of suggestions on Arena, and then the Sith Raid kind of phases, you know, what teams should you be kind of leaning towards that you have. And then also you just wanted me to know you're working on Imperial Troopers and doing your Shore Trooper and Sith Trooper right now. So that is awesome. And you're also thinking of moving towards Night Sisters. All right, for Arena, you're doing really well. You get into the top 100. You're using kind of a counter team with CLS and Han Solo, R2-D2, and you've got Thrawn there for the Fracture and Barisafi for a cleanse, as well as heal, as well as the crit hit, healing on critical hits. So pretty cool and interesting team composition, but I looked at what you have, and while CLS is good, Jedi Training Rey is better when you compare the two as far as what they can go against and how successful they are. Really, Jedi Training Rey only really struggles with Night Sisters, and even then she doesn't struggle with them if you build certain team compositions. So let's go ahead and talk about what team I would suggest in your inventory. All right, so first off, you have Jedi Training Rey, you even have her leadership Zeta, you have R2-D2, and you have BB-8. Now, BB-8 is only 2 pieces of gear away from 10, and he is decently tanky, and he has so much foresight that goes up that it's really hard for people to kill BB-8. So most people leave BB-8 till the end anyway, which allows for him to have his utility throughout the entire battle. So you do not have to worry about his gear as much as just you want to get him up as fast as humanly possible, because him moving a lot like a soccer ball around is going to really speed your team up. R2-D2 needs to be fast as well, but those three, that trio, works really, really well. And then I would throw in Grand Admiral Thrawn, and of course you have him gear 12 with all 3 pieces in. You have his ebb and flow unique, and you have him pretty fast. It would be crazy not to use this guy. His utility is amazing, with the ability to counter while he's got someone fractured, to be able to fracture an opponent and take a character completely out of the game makes a huge difference. So Grand Admiral Thrawn would be on this team with Rey, R2, and BB-8. And then for the last slot, it really depends on what you're facing as to which character you would put in here, but you could put your CLS because he's maxed out, and he can put buff immunity up, and he can restore his health and protection, and he hits like a tank. So this is a phenomenal option for that 5th slot. Also, you have Han Solo maxed out. This is another phenomenal option. And the reason is he's going to go with stealth mode with R2-D2, and if he's stealthed, you'll be able to constantly just do massive damage with him, massive damage. And before they're able to finally get to him, I mean, they're going to be focused on killing him, and they're going to have a hard time getting to him. And once they finally do, it's too late. Illuminated Destiny will be going off, and the other characters will be what they should have been worried about. So Han Solo's phenomenal. Also, he can disrupt the Empire meta with being able to just shoot first, and that really helps with the meta. So Han Solo is probably taking an edge over CLS, but you could use CLS. And of course, lastly, you could put a tank in here, and you do have General Kenobi, but obviously your General Kenobi is 6 stars gear 8, so he's not ready yet. But once he's ready, once you get him up to gear 10 or above and get him to a 7th star, even at 5 star or 6 stars, he's usable. But get him up, get his gear up. His abilities are all maxed out, so that's phenomenal. But he could be thrown into this team. He has a lot of foresight synergy, critical hit immunity. He's a great tanky tank. So you could do Rey, R2, BB-8, Thrawn, and General Kenobi, or you could throw in, like I said, CLS and Han Solo. But for now, because General Kenobi's not quite ready, definitely want to go Han Solo or CLS, and I see, because of the Empire meta being what's happening right now, probably Han Solo would be the better of the two, unless they're running a double tank. If they're running a double tank, definitely all day, every day, go CLS. Of course, you said you were working on your Imperial Troopers, so good for you. Top 5 are the top 5 you're going to want to continue to develop, and it looks really good. You've got the right characters. You said you are developing Shore and Death Trooper, not only for this team, but for ships. So great. I just wanted to take a look and show that you are developing your Imperial Troopers very well. Now let's move into Sith teams for the Sith Raid. All right, so for phase one, you've got one of the best teams for phase one that you could possibly run, and that would be a Jedi Training Rey team. And that would be your three, of course, the Soccer Ball BB-8, R2-D2, and Jedi Training Rey. And then you're going to add 2 characters to that from this list. Now, you would probably currently add Resistance Trooper and Rey Scavenger because they do a lot of damage. Resistance Trooper gets to take a ton of turns because of all of the additional turn meter gains, and Rey Scavenger can do a ton of damage. So those are probably the 2 that you would be utilizing the most. Although I know some people that use Poe Dameron and Resistance Trooper, or Poe Dameron and Rey Scavenger. But I'm going to suggest that you use Resistance Trooper. And then I would tell you the one character in this list that you should develop no matter what is actually going to be Holdo. She's 4 stars, like gear 4 for you right now. But I would highly recommend putting her in your favorites today and starting to gear and farm her up immediately. She's really great at making this team more durable, spreading around foresight, healing in multiple ways, being able to daze, which is really important, especially for like territory wars and battles. But she's going to be really helpful in the Sith raid as well. So that's my suggestion on this team. Obviously BB-8 because of arena suggestion and also just for general development. And then of course, Holdo, really make your special project for this phase 1 team. Now let's move to phase 2. Phase 2, you could combine Empire and Sith and make an Empire Sith team, but I would actually suggest that your phase 2, because it's the easiest way to do damage, is where you can dump any of your teams you're not using in phase 1, 3, or 4. You could actually dump a bunch of teams in phase 2 and get quite a bit of damage. But just looking at your Sith, I see a lot of opportunity here with an Emperor Palpatine lead, Darth Vader, Darth Nihilus, Count Dooku for all the countering, and of course Savage. You could use him as a cleanser for this team and to help you with the add robots once you get them under 50% health to just stomp them out and continue forward. He's not going to add a ton of damage, and so with that there is other characters such as Darth Sidious or Darth Maul, but Darth Sidious, because of the exposed damage that he brings, that you could bring in instead of Savage, that would do really well. But I would probably use a Sith/Sith and Empire combination for phase 2. And like I said, you can really do any of the teams that you're struggling with in all the other areas, just bring them into phase 2. Phase 2, in my opinion, is one of the easiest to just get a good amount of damage from a team when you have those little hodgepodge teams. As some people say in phase 4, you just throw the kitchen sink. Well, you can do a lot of those teams in phase 2 and get, you know, 250,000 damage or 500,000 damage from a lot of those teams in this phase. As far as phase 3 team goes, things haven't changed a whole lot in phase 3. You're still going to want to do Chex Mix. And of course, you've got the characters. Commander Luke Skywalker is the lead. Han Solo. You're going to want to focus on offense with this as well. You have one of the few Gear 12 POWs I've ever seen, so that's cool. And you have Chirrut Imwe that you can use for the tenacity up and the cleanse, as well as he's an attacker. He brings in offense. You're going to want all these guys modded for heavy offense as much as possible. And then, of course, you're going to want to bring your Death Trooper in. Now, we know your Death Trooper 6 stars, not 7 stars. So aside from Holdo, you're going to have Death Trooper in there. Now, they're both Cantina, and so I'm going to suggest you work on Death Trooper first as far as the stars while you gear up Holdo. And then as soon as you have the 7th star on Death Trooper, move over to Holdo's stars and get her up to 7 stars as fast as possible. And by then, you should be around gear 9-ish for Holdo, and that should be great for you. So this would be the team that I would suggest. The Chex Mix team, of course, there's lots of videos on how to do it. In fact, I even put a video out with JW Robinson on how to use the Chex Mix team, and I'm pretty sure this is what you're using in phase 3 now. But just remember, they don't have to be super fast. They just have to have a ton of offense. And then for phase 4, you're going to be able to use Night Sisters, First Order, and Phoenix, kind of the kitchen sink scenario. But for now, because your Night Sisters look like this, you're going to go ahead and use your First Order team and your Phoenix team. Now, you're not going to get a ton of damage with your Night Sisters and your First Order and your Phoenix right now, but it's something to work with while you develop your Night Sisters. Now, with Night Sisters, you're going to want, of course, Asajj, the lead. You're going to want a Zeta, her lead. Mother Talzin, you're going to want to get, of course, 7 stars, and Zeta, her unique. old Daka, get her up in gear a little bit, focus on a lot of health for her, and you can Zeta her unique if you wish, but it's not necessary. And then the other two would be Zombie and Talia, but you got to get them to 7 stars. Now, Talia can go pretty quickly up to 7 stars. Zombie's a little bit slower, but you could focus on both of those. And Mother Talzin. Now, this is a long-term team, a team that we know can do win maxed out around 9 million on phase 4. And so this is your long-term goal, and you knew that you were going to probably be focusing on Night Sisters, or knew I was going to suggest that to you. And yes, definitely, but like I said, definitely Death Trooper and then Holdo are your first 2 priorities to really shore up those areas of the game. And then yes, make your Night Sisters a high priority. They are really great in dark side territory battles. They're really great on offense or defense in territory wars, and they're like one of the highest, if not the highest, scoring team in all of the Sith raid, and really help you to bring down the Sith raid in phase 4. So that's what I would suggest. You're doing really, really well for yourself. So I know you're doing well with your counter teams with CLS, and you could continue to do a CLS team once you get General Kenobi up. You could pop General Kenobi in that spot where Barasafi is, or you could move to the Jedi Training Raid team that I made a suggestion about. Make sure you use those teams for the Sith Raid and just practice. It takes time and practice to get better and better and better, and there are people out there that put videos out that have deconstructed exactly what you should do in each phase of the raid to maximize and how to mod. So as always, Deacon Church, if you have any questions, you can always hit me up privately as always. And as always, keep your gaming on. Warrior out.